it has that kind of co-op 4-person taking on a dungeon while you have a extra person on the side being that can act as the dungeon keeper itself by planting the traps, planting the monsters, and when they can get in and take out the enemies, taking out the heroes. Sorry, excuse me. And just kind of like a co-op, survivalist game. A little bit. I got the feeling that this game's going to have a little bit more of the cookie cutter dungeon setup, and that it's not going to be like you just take a block from a dungeon, presets, and just kind of set them down when you set up the dungeons as the dungeon keeper itself. But looking great. But if Fable can have that tendency where it's like it looks great now, and you're gonna hype up all this stuff behind it, and then when it comes to actual release, they fail to deliver. So, yeah. Also shown off this year, we saw next was Project Spark. This is basically Xbox version of Little Big Planet, which is like a game where you can create user-created content and kind of create games within this universe. And we saw this last year with a nice demo. This year they showed off a cinematic trailer where they showed off different kinds of games that have been implemented using Project Spark, and then had a nice little teaser right at the end as it's showing the credits. Conker from Bad Fur Day comes in and slices through Project Spark and says, well, it's been 10 years since our last game. And then everybody went, oh, they're going to make a new Bad Fur Day. And he goes, let's make our own game. And then walks off stage. And everybody went, are you kidding me? Don't worry, Conker is going to be in Project Spark. But sorry, no Bad Fur Day 2, sorry to say. So. And then at least, thank God, we get into a little bit more of the indie titles. We see a very gorgeous trailer, if you get to see it, of Ori and the Blind Forest. It's a 2D, kind of like mystical creatures going through a forest, a little bit emotional as this like action platformer out there. Definitely, it's hard for me to describe, but if you get a chance to see the trailer, definitely take a look at it.
Okay.
Ori and the Blind Forest. Probably one to definitely keep an eye out for.
One we could put up on the Facebook.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then next up, 343 takes the stage, and here we go into the Halo bit. So we already know Halo 5 is coming off, and we see especially the trailer for Halo Guardians, as we see the new character kind of going through flashbacks of all Master Chief's career, and basically kind of hear, I think it's the Arbiter, if I'm not mistaken, voice telling him, you must seek him, and saying, like, seek your future. So they come on stage to tell us, basically in this next one, this is going to be Master Chief's journey. Since the events happen at the end of Halo 4, Master Chief is in this kind of state where he's just like, what do I do now? And he's kind of in a soul-searching, shall we say. Yeah! And apparently this new character is going to be searching for Master Chief. I don't know. It's a journey. What can I say?
It's an excuse for a Halo game is what it is.
Basically, it's like, all right, it's an excuse. But then they also come out and bring out, oh yeah, by the way, we're also going to be releasing this fall Halo Master Chief Collection. This is, and I quote, Halo Combat Evolved, i.e. Halo 1, all the way up to Halo 4. So you get Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, Halo 3, and Halo 4 in one giant bundle for the Xbox One.
How much?
Lord only knows. I don't think they even told that out. But I will tell you what's in it.
Okay.
Whatever Xbox... I'm going to assume it's going to be the Xbox One's normal price, so we're talking like $60 retail for all these. For 4 games... Plus, do mind that the biggest expansion, the biggest news of it is that, well, besides the Combat Evolved, that's the Anniversary Edition, but Halo 2 is going to be getting the Anniversary treatment as well, so it's going to have updated graphics. The entire multiplayer has been brought back in the original engine, but with the updated graphics. All the multiplayers you can play, that includes all 100 maps. This is all going to be at 60 frames per second, 1080p. 4,000 gamer score, because gamer score apparently is necessary to point that out in the press conference, and with dedicated servers. In addition, it'll also have the Halo Nightfall TV series, which leads into the story of Halo 5. Also, you also get a buy-in to the Halo 5 beta as well for this December.
If I got some spare change around the holidays.
Seriously,
So if you're looking for at least some games to have on your Xbox One, this might be one for the holidays.
And this is all in one package.
The Halo Master Chief the Halo Master Chief Collection, which drops November 11th, will have all that in there.
Happy birthday, Brian.
I saw that. I saw that part. Saw that part of that press conference. I was just, oh God.
Yeah, we saw that text come up there. Yeah.
Like
Wow.
100 maps. Woo!
Yeah, all the multiplayers we working
And
on,
it's all
like,
updated, too.
all updated, especially.
Oh my
Well,
God.
Halo, it'll be the anniversary collection of Halo 1 and 2, so those are the anniversary. Halo 3, well, it's the same from, obviously, Xbox 360. You don't really need to do anything with that. Halo 4, well, it just came out, so we're just porting it over.
Yeah.
The only thing to do note is that this does not include ODST or Reach, because this is the Master Chief, so they stick with Master Chief's collection. So, even though you could technicality say it on Reach, but we're not going to go into that.
Okay.
So, but that's one to keep out for, especially if you're going to get Xbox One. It's like, hey, let's get all the Halos and play through them because you know you want to.
Binge playing.
Basically.
Wow.
Oy. Next up, now that kind of covers mainly what comes out for especially the fall lineup. Looking to they did structure from here to go see in the future, 2015. From the creators of Limbo, their next game especially come out, a 2.5D platformer called Inside, where you play as a little boy in a dystopian world, a very bleak dystopian kind of, I can't think of like the word I'm looking for, but kind of controlled kind of world. What's the totalitarian, I think? Well, but in this kind of like as you're trying to escape and run through it as well, very in this style of Limbo. If you play that kind of 2.5D where you have your foreground actions that are happening as well as background animations that are happening, but you only play on that one level field. Very grayscale is the best way to describe the aesthetic of the game. While your character is the little boy you play is the only thing that actually has colors. As he has the prominent red shirt, so he stands out amongst the crowd.
Oh my!
I don't know how that works in there, but but something is, if you're definitely like Limbo and especially like Playdead Studios style of games, Inside, take a look at that one. Then from up here, this is where I kind of have to call out Microsoft, and they brought out especially their ID at Xbox, which is kind of like their showcase of indie games, and that they're providing tools to indie developers to create games for Xbox One. And then they did kind of a montage of games. And I'm sorry to say, I did not like the point that they decided to montage them real quickly, because I really wish I could call out, especially a lot of the games that they showed. Unfortunately, they did it way too fast that you could catch them. And not only that, it would be nice to bring the developers onto the stage to show them, because that brings out credit, I must say. So
You blew it!
I would say so. But definitely, if you want to check out more, especially for indie games, for that, I would check Indiecade, especially at E3. If you can find that, just Google search and look at that. They'll show you a showcase of majority of those games. So definitely look at that. Next up, we did get a trailer for the next Tomb Raider game, Rise of Tomb Raider, as we see Lara Croft in front of a psychiatric evaluator asking her questions, and you see a little bit of nervous twitch in her, and then suddenly leads to her leading into flashing into different tombs that she's going through, and kind of like this is like now she's accepting the role of being a Tomb Raider. But again, it was a cinematic trailer, no gameplay show, and we just know it's in development. So
Okay.
next we had a on-stage demo with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which looks amazing, and I really hope it actually looks like that on Xbox One, where we have Gestalt, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, but the main character, especially tracking down a griffin and running through the world, as you can see, with his monster hunting skills, helping out a damsel in distress at the same time, being attacked by bandits, and then finally reaching up to attacking the griffin head-on, fighting it, both using the abilities that you have as a Witcher in Polish folklore, using magic, traps, and everything imaginable, but definitely get a chance. I'm looking forward to that game, The Witcher 3, because 2 was amazing, especially if you're looking for especially an RPG game with a story on par with something like Game of Thrones, dear Lord, Witcher. So, especially with The Witcher 3 being a very open world setting, that's going to be interesting. And then a big note to show of just a little bit of surprise, like, hey, remember this kind of game coming back. The guys who brought back Killer Instinct decided to show off their next game and decided, let's bring back a classic from the original Xbox game, and to show off that they're bringing back Phantom Dust, which I'm so excited for, especially because that was a great game for anybody who ever got a chance to play it. On release, that game was only $20. I kid you not. And Phantom Dust, to describe it, it's a post-apocalyptic... I guess telepathic or telekinesis or psychic, whatever way you want to talk about it, power fighting game. On the vein, if you play like Magic the Gathering, except it's a third-person action game, is the best way to describe it. As you play in these like post-apocalyptic like New York and stuff like that, like it's only like a few survivors left, but they have these superpowers that you can create from basically a list of pool with different categories, like one's psychiatric and one's nature or focused. Very much if you play a lot of like deck building games, it's very similar in that they take the deck building games of that and add it to like a third person like brawler type of game. So really looking forward to seeing how that turns out. Next game we have up here, especially that I can't wait, and you'll probably hear me a lot talking about it. Tom Clancy's The Division. Really good game. Basically, the idea of it being in the future, a virus has taken over much of what's left of the world. So we're in a kind of post-apocalyptic New York, and just the people who are left over, basically trying to stay together and stay alive. And this is a very co-op focused third-person shooter where you take on, scavenge through New York and try to fight off not only whatever's left of humanity, but as well as little cells of corporations and other enemies to try and grab as much loot and scavenge items as well.
I like it.
Very good-looking game, I must say, and very interesting. And I really want to see more of that. We did find out as well, especially from Platinum Games, the guys behind Bayonetta and Spectacle Fighters. Also, recently they just released Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, as ridiculously named that is. But really good. They just announced the next game for Xbox One, which is Scalebound, which looks to be a very centered on like best way to describe it is like monster kind of fighting. It was a trailer that they showed off, but it looks like a monster fighting element where your character and his dragon take on mythical creatures like hydras and giant like dragons as well. But he has the ability to, I guess, use the same armor that his dragon has, and has magical swords, especially like that. But very interesting looking title. But wait to hear a little bit more information. And last but not least, they ended off showing off, especially that they're going to be creating another Crackdown game, especially for Xbox One. So Crackdown is basically an open world justice provider kind of game, shall we say, as you take on probably the most heavily armored gangs I've ever heard in my entire life, and you as a member of the agency, basically a superpowered. You're basically just RoboCop, in other words, taking down the gangs of I can't remember the name of the city, but especially the Great series, and they're saying that this is going to be created from the guys who made the first one. Second one decided to add in a little bit more of zombie elements into it, which didn't really work out too well for this.
Tired of zombies.
Yeah, so this looks like it's going to be Return to Form, and you taking on just the gangs of the city and just taking them down. So, but trailer shows a focus on co-op play, so again, we'll wait to see how that is. So that about wraps it up for Xbox overall games. Great that they showed focus. There wasn't really much of a dip in progress with theirs, where you see like you start out with a big bang and then you kind of go into like a little bit of a valley in terms of interest, but they kind of stayed steady, and I think they just stuck with their guns and stick with that. So a lot of exclusive they showed off, but definitely good on that. Next, I want to get on to, after that, it was EA.
Okay.
Now, yeah. Now, it comes with the EA. We kind of see the same things we see every year when it comes to them.
College football.
Exactly.
FIFA soccer.
Oh,
Madden.
those will be in here, and I'll probably braze through them really quickly. So.
By all means, Bradley.
I know. But they started off strong, especially they start off with just a little bit of music, especially intro from the Mass Effect series, which I'm like, thank God. But then to come out on the stage and say, oh my God, all the feels. And I go, oh dear God, did we just walk into Tumblr now? So they start off strong by at least showing off early footage from the next Star Wars Battlefront. So it is in development.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you're talking about this.
They finally, but here's the bad thing. It's like, all right, awesome. They show off Star Wars Battlefront. They show off, again, all they show was conceptual,
Yeah, they kind of
footage.
just walked through the whole, like, this is what we did. We dug very deep.
We dug deep into the museum to make sure we get the characters just right, and we're making that. And they're showing the Return of the Jedi with the speeder bikes through the
awesome.
things,
Yeah.
which looks amazing. But you still have the bottom of the screen conceptual prototype, and then they have to give the biggest tease of all right at the end of it, saying, "See more." Spring 2015.
Exactly.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, then what did I just watch?
I'm like, you little mother.
Basically.
Yeah.
So
This
it's like,
is what it could be, but we're not saying it is.
And then I just
No, it's
think
like-
about all those times that you tell me, what they show you in a trailer is not going to be what's going to be really in the game.
exactly. So it's
And
like,
got my hopes up. I really did.
I'm so glad that you're making it, but at the same time, I really want to strangle you for saying we're not done yet. We don't actually have anything to show, but here's the thing, and let me just forewarn you now, this is going to be a running trend for EA.
But wait, there's more.